invisible essence. It's known through us, but it's known through its corruption. We're the negation and the corruption of God. Atlantis fell into the dark waters, so that means we're not functioning from the first eye anymore. When Atlantis fell, it fell into the darkness of our subconscious mind. Imagine before I learned how to be funny in between, give you a little bit of what you want and what I needed to give. Before I learned how to do all of that, I was just like a gun with no safety. I would come in, listen. There is no God. I'm here to kill God. Ragnarok, when the day the gods die. That's how I used to talk. And they would be sitting there. Like, when you leave and it's like, you know, I have my little briefcase, they be waiting there. I want to talk to you. Come here. You set something up there. So I learned compassion. I learned how to deal with those things when they came. Okay, so Kemet was said to be the land of the black faces. There were some Egyptologists who recoined it and said that Kemet actually meant the land of the dark soil, okay, but this was incorrect. We're dealing with the whole Nile Valley civilization, beginning in Uganda, okay? When you're dealing with Egyptology or Egyptian thought, it gets more powerful the further down you go. In Africa, you see there's a lot of different dances, right? And all of those dances, for the most part, they repeat some type of movement that the village does. So you have dances of like the hunter, where you have like you're pulling the arrow. Why? Because the more I do this, the more I'm doing what my grandfather did every day. And the more I do what my grandfather did every day, it sends a symbol to him where he says, oh, you want me. If you have the breath of life that Olodumare gave you, and you're able to breathe into things and make them a living soul, just by speaking to them, you can make them real. Is it then possible for you to animate a being on the planet who has no soul? It's that understanding of the connectedness that we have with our Egun, or with our ancestors, that allows us to go to the next step in evolution. If we do not study that and understand that, we do not know really what our starting point is. These workshops that I'm doing and this tour is definitely spirit-led, because this is not the typical environment that you would find someone like me, or someone, when I mean like me, who presents my type of information, you know, or even just finding Ifa. Like typically when I go to these fairs, I'm the only Ifa, Orisha, Yoruba individual here. Sometimes I luck up, maybe there's one other person, but for the most part it's usually only me. So this is not the typical environment I would find myself in, but it's good. And again, it's spirit-led. When I first really heard my grandmother loud, I'll never forget, I had a court date, and I'm praying, so I'm like, you know, grandma, just let me get in and out of here, don't let me start yelling at this judge or nothing like that. So I was doing this breathing meditation while I was walking, and I tripped. I had a briefcase and everything, and I just did one of them and kept going, and I heard this laughter, and then I heard somebody always sees you, son. Because I looked around, I said, there wasn't nobody on the street. I was like, okay, nobody saw that. And I heard laughter, and somebody always sees you. You made me trip, so I would relax. We played it. That's how I deal with it, man. There's no artificial nothing about it. No ancestors, I come before you. They gonna be like, who is this? That ain't him. It's gotta be my aunt. It's gotta be authentic. The knowings that you have as a human are what create identity, or the accumulation of what we call a personality. Okay, this is something that's temporary. Personality, person, doesn't really matter. Person was only produced as a tool to fulfill the purpose. Person is temporary. When we're praying to our ancestors, we're praying to our ancestors' spirit, not to their soul. The souls, who knows where they are. They might be sitting there praying next to us, laughing at us. Be a little baby just sitting there. You know. They fell into the darkness of the subconscious to rise again, one step higher. Okay? So the darkness is your friend, because that's where the real power. People not reincarnating. No, we're not getting new Bob Marley. We're not getting new Marvin Gaye. We're not getting new James Brown. We're not getting any new of these great visionaries and minds. We're not getting new Nikola Teslas. They're not coming back. They did what they were supposed to do, and they left such a legacy that we're supposed to use it as stair steps. When they keep incarnating, that means we're going to be here much longer. Okay, so what's coming back through now are just all the gurus. That's why everybody's so deep now. These entities are not incarnating in temples. They're incarnating in urban areas, in the slums, in the places you would never think to find them. These are where the gurus are coming back. There's a saying in Yoruba, the Ori that leaves in the dawning is not the Ori that returns at night. Your day's experiences, you're supposed to make them profound to the point that it renews your thinking, renews the way you see the world. But in order for there to be a rebirth and renewal, it must first be a death and a destruction. I try to destroy people. You walk out, I want you to be a new person. If there's one thing that you learn, I know I destroyed. It could just be one point that you took in and said, now that's true. Well, that person who walked in didn't know that that was true. So that means that person's dead. I don't stand here to give you stuff that you can do this to, because then I'm not giving you nothing that's destroying you, and the same person is walking back out the door, but you just got better self-esteem. We don't need anymore. We already know we built everything. We already know we invented everything. We already know we was the first ones here. Now, time for some more medicine. The order that the man brings that we have not been doing. Well, they have not. I do it. That's what's not happening. And that's why that boy got killed. And more boys are going to get killed. And more females are going to get. It's going to keep happening as long as the males sit back here and theorize. The women are supposed to sit back and say, and cry and mourn and say, look at what they're doing to our baby. And you're gonna feel real stupid when they take up arms, because historically, women have been known to do that. Anybody, any man in here ever had to engage a woman, like had a woman attack him? Does it look like this? I'm a jab, it looks all over. Right. Why? Because she's chaos. When she goes after you, she's going to try to destroy you. You don't want to fight a woman. No one else can be me like me. Okay, that's all I bring to the table, is me.
Baba Fumila ye,